What's up, Recovered on Purpose family? I am so excited you're here for this week's episode of Guest Sundays right here on the Recovered on Purpose show. And the Recovered on Purpose show is brought to you by all the people who said yes to adding purpose, meaning, and passion to their lives in recovery through sharing their stories by joining the Recovery Speaker Share Your Story Powerfully course. Today's student shout out goes to Crystal Lavender. Crystal has an amazing story of overcoming a decades-long addiction and is dedicated to helping others in the darkness find the light of recovery she has now found. I'm super proud of you, Crystal, and super excited to be on this journey with you. Guys, enjoy the show and keep living Recovered on Purpose.
The black represents the darkness from which we came. The white represents the light in which we now live. And the red represents the passion it takes to live Recovered on Purpose.
Hello, and welcome everybody. Super excited that you are here. And I'm going to say it again for you that just came on live. The Recovered on Purpose show is brought to you by all the people who have said yes to adding purpose, meaning, and passion to their lives in recovery through sharing their stories by joining the Recovery Speaker Share Your Story Powerfully course. Today's student shout out goes to Crystal Lavender. Crystal has an amazing story of overcoming a decades-long addiction and is dedicated to helping others in the darkness find the light of recovery she has now found. I'm super proud of you, Crystal, and I can't wait to keep getting your message out. If you're an addict in recovery and want to learn how to add impact and income to your story and telling it, go to recoveredonpurpose.com to book your call with me. So today we have a super special guest I'm excited to introduce you to. We're going to have a great talk about adding peak messaging to your life, how to get to your performance. So Jeff Wickersham is a sought-after accountability and peak performance coach who helps guide clients to intentionally step into the best versions of themselves and unlock that inner hero waiting to be unleashed. Jeff's a #1 best-selling author, Tony Robbins award winner, podcast host, speaker, and creator of the 4-step Morning Fire methodology. He recently completed his second David Goggins 4x4 by 48-mile run, has meditated for 1,684 straight days, and taken an ice bath or cold shower 1,339 straight days. If you have that itch that you can be more, do more, and you want more, Jeff can help you get there. Guys, I'm super excited to introduce you to my good friend, Jeff Wickersham. Thanks for being here, brother.
Adam, thanks for having me. I am fired up after that intro and the music. We're ready to go, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I get that a lot. And my good friend who actually, he's my producer and he's been with me since like the end of my addiction. He started making videos and stuff for me and he stuck with me through this. And he made that whole intro video with the music and everything. And man, I feel like I could swallow a dumbbell after watching that thing. So I get ready, bro. I get ready.
No, it was awesome.
Jeff, why do you do what you do? What are you up to? What's your story? And why is it that you want to help people get to that peak performance?
It starts for me 7.5 years ago. And I had spent, just to give you some background, about 20 years in corporate America. And then 7.5 years ago, I had that life event that punched me in the gut, cut me at the knees. I lost my mom to breast cancer. So I watched the woman that brought me into this world take her last breath. And when you have the fragility of life smack you in the face like that did, right? In that moment, you question everything in the coming days, weeks, months ahead. And I knew there was something more that I had inside, right? I always kind of felt like a square peg in a round hole in corporate America. So I ended up leaving, opening up a gym because I was always into fitness. My late mother was an aerobics teacher in the late 80s and 90s, as well as a school. And then what organically grew out of that was peak performance coaching, because we don't have a shortage of gyms in the world yet. So many people still struggle with getting in the best tip-top shape, not only physically, but also mentally, as well as I needed to do work, right? Yep, right between your ears, right? I needed to do work to install habits, rituals, mindset of a peak performer. And I had all the habits that I took from my late teens and my 20s. And it wasn't serving who I was as a person, as a husband, as a father. So, the spark was really my mother's loss and that deep searing pain, and then transforming it into purpose, into passion, into energy. And then every single day waking up and being grateful to be standing and have an opportunity, and then how can I impact others?
Amen. I love that. Love that so much. And, we're talking on the Recovered on Purpose show. Most of the people that watch this show are either in addiction recovery, they're struggling with addiction, or their loved one is struggling with addiction. And we've talked a little bit about your story with this and, some things that had to happen in order for you to reach your own peak performance. And what was kind of going on with your life that made you change some things around it that got you to the next level?
Having that weekend alcohol binge, I had it in my late teens, 20s, and 30s, where I was drinking every single weekend. I couldn't wait until 5 o'clock. I remember a neighbor would knock on my door, would hand me a drink right at 5 o'clock when it was shut down from work time. Right.
Yeah.
So that didn't allow me to operate at a peak performance level. I remember coaching a gym class at 8 a.m. and I had hung out with my buddies in the neighborhood till like 2 and 3 in the morning the night before. And my wife gave me a nice, bout of truth serum when she said, how can you go teach fitness and health and wellness to a class when you stink of alcohol?
Yes.
And I remember being like, you know what, you're right. Like, what the hell am I doing? So, that was one piece. And now in this year, I said, I'm done with it. I'm just not having any alcohol in my system. I want to have a clear mind, that clear focus, as well as the other piece was, porn. Porn was so prevalent in my teens, in my 20s, and actually early in my marriage, where if my, wife wasn't in the mood, she said, go check out porn. So it was actually, she was giving me the okay to do it, but I know it didn't hit the false sense of reality. Definitely those two things were just my biggest kryptonites in life. And that's why this year in 2022, I said, if I really want to up level, if I want to be authentic to myself and then be able to lead my clients, I'm doing it. So I put it out in the universe and threw the gauntlet down, and I feel fantastic 7+ months into the year.
Amen. Amen. So what is your sobriety date? Do you have the actual date?
Beginning of the year. So January 1st was my start.
Amen. So there's something like, what do they say? 85% of New Year's resolutions are failed in the first month, something like that.
Yeah, they are. They say that the third week of January is the most depressing week of the year because so many people fail at that time. And I'll say partly because we've been lied to that 21 days create a habit. Like that's the bare minimum. And science is now taking brain scans. Neuroscientists have proven out it can be anywhere from 21 to 67 days. So imagine getting to that third week thinking you made it, but yet you still got to go three times as longer, right?
Yeah.
So that's why so many people fail. They don't understand the science behind it. They don't have an awareness. And that's why, 80 to your point, 85% of people fail.
Yeah. And there were a couple things in there, and most people that are watching this show, we had a different kind of relationship with drugs and alcohol, right? We weren't able to just like have that thing that we were able to say, we're done now. We're just done now, and we stop, right? But the people that can, right? You have this, there's some kind of reward that you're looking for in stopping drinking. I mean, us in recovery, we get all kinds of rewards from it. We're able to get our life, we're able to, have these different things, but we don't think about the other rewards that everybody gets from it, right? Like everybody gets from sobriety. So what are some things that you've actually gained, like mentally, physically, emotionally, from stopping drinking?
Physically, I'm 47 years young. I'm in better shape now than I was in my 20s. I mean, my body fat percentage is down. I've got 2 sons. I say they're the dogs chasing me like 12 and 14, right? Hitting the gym. And I say, I'm going to stay out in front of you, right? I'm working hard. So that's been a difference maker, right? Our bodies regenerate all the cells in a 6 to 9 month window. So I'm hitting that window where I haven't had any alcohol in my system. So physically, I feel athletic, ready to go, mentally just crystal clear, right? Every single day when you wake up, you don't have that fog, you don't have that anxiety, the depression that comes with, having alcohol in the system. And then the other one is just having an amazing awareness of experiences and when they hit you. And I remember we got back from the beach a couple weeks ago. We were down Outer Banks of North Carolina, and my extended family was there, and I was watching my two sons, my nieces and nephews, my brother and brother-in-law throw the football around, and I was brought to tears.
Mm.
And my wife said, why are you, is everything okay? I said, I'm just so happy to be here. And I know my late mother would give anything to be here right now. And I was just soaking
Wow.
in the moment. And I would say, in years past, I'd be 3, 4, 5 beers deep at that point, and I wouldn't soak in that moment. So, the physical, the mental aspects have been pretty amazing.
I love that. And I was actually just in Cartagena, Colombia this past week, and went out to some clubs and stuff, and had some fun. People were drinking around me and stuff, and it's all good. But I had an amazing time without it. They tell us in recovery to watch out for triggers and things like that, and stay away from there and stay away from there. But I was visiting with friends that came down to Colombia to visit me from America. So I'm not going to miss out on going out on a boat ride with them just because they're drinking. I'm not going to miss out on going out and dancing at clubs because they're drinking. And I was able to have that same experience where I was soaking in this moment. I'm standing on stage behind the DJ with one of my longest time friends, right, in a different country. And, I don't know if I would have ever been able, not even leave the country, but be able to be there in that moment, be there in that moment like you're talking about. And you also mentioned porn. And I do want to talk about that because I haven't done a show about it in a long time. I have my good friend, Frank Rich, who he's a coach for, peak performance and things, but is focused on, getting you off of porn because it does certain things to you. It does things mentally, emotionally, physically. What were you noticing in using porn that it was depleting you of life? What was going on with that?
Well, number one, it was impacting my sex life with my wife, right? And wasn't able to perform at the best level I could be. And that level of intimacy isn't there because you're just watching 10, 15, an hour, 2 hours of something that is just giving you a constant dopamine hit right on your brain. And it's just such a false sense of reality. So, that closeness definitely wasn't there, that level of intimacy. And then, as a male, when you can't perform, man, it's a crushing cycle where, okay, what would happen then when I wouldn't? I'd go down and grab a drink, right? And it was just kind of this vicious cycle. So it's been amazing to say, you know what, be done with that. And I've seen everything from the intimacy, from our sex life, it's all improved from it. And it's such a sneaky kind of thing that is just everywhere, right? It's so easy. We've got these supercomputers in our phones, and it's so easy where, back 30 years ago, it was a Playboy or Penthouse or something magazine where that's the only, now it's just so readily available. And so many people go down that dark path and they just get stuck in it.
Yeah. And it's really not talked about enough because the negative impact of porn, if we're not even looking spiritually, we're looking mentally, we're looking physically. Now you're talking about being able to have that intimate relationship with someone, because if you're consuming something like that, you're looking at that person as an object. Number one, you're looking at that entire sex realm as an object to, take care of yourself, right? And then it also takes away creativity. This is from some studies that, because you're just seeing these things, right? And it takes away that part of your brain that is creative. And I've heard that it will actually make it so that you can work on projects better. You can create better because that part of your brain is not satisfied from that specific habit. Have you noticed that at all within this last 7 months?
I definitely, those two, the alcohol and the porn, I'm sending myself text messages when I'm out for a walk or a run, oh, wow, I've got this idea. I want to capture it real quick. So definitely feel that clarity and my mind. And that's the most important, right? The mental game is now at a peak level where, hey, my physical side was pretty darn good, minus the alcohol, but the mental side was just not there.
And it's interesting while I'm listening to you and having this conversation with you, because you use certain words in sentences that are powerful. but it's like you're doing it subconsciously. You keep saying peak. You keep saying my performance wasn't here or my performance wasn't here. Like your mindset is set on peak performance. Like what can I cut out in order to reach a better performance? Is that something that you are consciously doing, or that you made the decision when you cut these things off to start seeking more? Or is that something you've always had?
I've always been an extremely competitive person, right? I
Yeah.
remember one of my fraternity brothers graduating college said that I was the most competitive person he ever met. And if my mom was on the 5-yard line, I'd run her over to score the winning touchdown. And I thought it was the biggest compliment I ever got. And I told my mother, and she was like, "Would you?" I said, "Absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt." But
Yes.
no, I mean, I was a quiet, introverted kid. Sports gave me an out. And then with the passing of my mom and the reps, putting in the reps physically, putting in the reps mentally over and over and over again, now I'm here versus where I started. I mean, I was voted my senior class on the male side. I was voted biggest complainer in my senior class.
I
I
was
mean,
voted biggest flirt.
but like people would say, no way, that couldn't be. Yeah, that's who I was. But
Wow.
I had that life event, and then now it's over and over again. I mean, it was just a beautiful day out here where I live the other day, and I said to my wife, like, it's going to be a spectacular day, and she was just like, sometimes it's like living with this person that, you know, we call it the new Jeff versus the old Jeff, and
Amen.
you know that's a great, powerful way to live. And what about, I mean, if we all brought energy and positivity and a smile and cheered each other on, and, you know, we're there to support each other, this world would be such a better place.
Yes.
And that's why, like, I lost my mom. I want to make a dent in the universe by bringing my energy, bringing my enthusiasm, bringing my excitement. And I don't care people can talk whatever they want. I don't give a shit. I am here
Yes.
to do that, because that is my mission, is to raise other people up, help guide. And when we all can intentionally step into the best version of ourselves, whew, then you get changed, then you get some magic, and it's an amazing place to be at.
Amen. I love that. Love that. And you said something earlier also about basically how are you going to go into this gym and teach these people about health when you just went out drinking all night, right? So it's like practicing what you preach. How could someone possibly be teaching someone, you know, how to be at peak performance, or how to, you know, live their best life or tell their story if they haven't done that themselves or not living that themselves? So were you struggling with that before your wife said that, or was that kind of like a God shot, like I needed to hear that?
No, that was a pretty good shot across the bow, and I definitely took that in and said, you know what, she's freaking right. And as well as my sons growing up, right? This was 6, 7 years ago, so they were much younger. Now this year, I get to share what I'm doing. They can see it. They see the difference. They feel it. I can connect the dots to them. Like, hey, I'm in better shape now at 47 than I was in 27 because I don't have any alcohol in my system.
Yeah.
That's a powerful thing to lead from the front with two boys, you know, 12 and soon to be 14, very impressionable.
Yes.
They're like, "Dad, I ain't touching that crap. Like, I want to be peak performer just like you." So,
Yes.
you know, that as a father, truly one of the greatest gifts I've ever been given, to be a dad and to be able to now say, you know what, I'm making this choice for myself, but to show up better for you guys. And then we're all on our toes. We're all on the attack as a family. That's a powerful connected force.
Yeah, I love that. And I actually want to ask you this because I usually have people on here that struggled with addiction and alcoholism who have kids, right?
Mhm.
And the average age for a child to experiment with alcohol in America is 11 and 12. And marijuana is 14. That's the average age, right? What's the kind of because you have this peak performance mentality, you have to be instilling this into your kids, obviously. So what is the conversation that you have around alcohol, drugs, things like that? What would you tell, you know, another parent about that to keep them deterred from doing it?
Number one is lead by example. I think kids are sponges, right? They watch everything. I mean, I literally, a Facebook memory popped up from 8 years ago, and my two sons came back from the Outer Banks, and they were doing like a P90X video at 4 and 3 because they said they needed to. Well, they saw me all the time. They were around the exercise, right? The working out piece. So
Yeah.
leading by example is so critical. And then having conversations about your past and sharing some of the tough stories, the embarrassing stories, because if they don't hear that and understand, and you can be vulnerable and truthful and honest with them, they might want to go down that route and experiment, right? So I think that's incredibly powerful, to lead by example and lead from the front.
Yeah, I love that so much. And I was actually talking to a friend earlier this week about just like having that open communication with the kids and making it so that you are the safe place to come to. Like, you are that place where whatever happens, if it's something that's embarrassing, if they tried something they knew they shouldn't, or if they see a friend doing something they know that friend shouldn't have done, you're that safe space for them to come to, that trusting relationship, right? And you said you have 2 sons, right?
Correct.
So these are like little people that you are growing into, that you are growing into this identity, right? Man, I can't wait to have kids. I can't wait to have kids, bro.
It is. And I always tell them, I said, I am growing you both to be better than I ever was. You are going to blow me away, because I've meditated with them before school for 3 years. My mom was probably the biggest Post-it note fan in the history of the universe. She had every single color of Post-it note. Well, I write them a Post-it note every morning, put it in an envelope, and throw it outside their door before they get up, because I want them to know that their dad loves them every single day. But then I can drop these little nuggets of personal development, of growth, of mindset, all these things. And my one son has them all over his door. My other son has shoe boxes full. And I think about how powerful is that, to just give a little gift of growth, get 1% better today, or just, hey, I love you. Man, I'm just feeding them all these little seeds, planting them. And I'm like, you guys got to blow me away. And I totally expect that and encourage it and bring it out of them. But it's such a gift to be able to do that for young kids.
Man, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of someone like writing Post-it notes to their kids, because that's like I'm just having all the thoughts of the impact that could make on a kid's life. Because I don't have kids yet, but I imagine like kids that I see out in public or something, like, or, just smiles or something like that. Or like, if I think of that one sentence you could possibly say to a kid that would just change his life, and if I see a kid that's like dressed to the nine, like maybe his mom dressed him up in a suit or something, he's like 5 years old, and I'm like, dude, you look amazing today. You look so good today. Like, what impact that one sentence could make on a kid. But here you are, and you're making one of these every single day, every day. Can you give some examples in case some parents are out there that want to start doing this with their kids?
I get them. They come to me in the morning after my meditation and a little bit of exercise, part of my morning fire methodology. But, one was act who you want to be, and eventually you'll be who you act. Right. And it's just like, hey, today, just get 1% better. Or growth is not linear. You have dips, you have valleys, but you also have peaks, right? These things that I didn't get, that school doesn't teach us, right? School never taught me this stuff. Elementary, high school, college.
Yeah.
Those little mindset nuggets. And sometimes it's just, hey, I love you. I'm so proud of you, right? The more that our kids can hear how much we love them, how proud we are, man, they're just so much more encouraged to do. And I encourage, let's say they have a failure, a bad game. Hey, congratulations. You learn the most from those lessons, right? And if I can instill that type of mentality, that mindset, I just know they're going to do amazing things. And that's also, I've coached youth sports now for 20 plus years. So I just love, giving that. But I tell them, I said, now you've got a peak performance coach in the house. Like, when we're doing a rep on the bench press, and ask my one son, how many are you going to get? He says, I'll try and get 4. And I give him this eyebrow, like, he goes, I'm going to get 4. I said, you bet. Like, don't say, there is no try, right? And I give him that image. When you say you try, you're in a room and you want to walk through that door. Once you say try, all of a sudden a door opens up behind you, your subconscious mind goes out the back door, and you can't go through the forward door.
Exactly.
So, language is so powerful, being aware of that and giving them those gifts. Yeah, it's amazing.
Amen. And you said something in there with youth sports. So when I was growing up, I was on this football team, the Columbine Raiders in Little League. We won state every single year. But one year, we got beat by Wheat Ridge.
Okay.
And this one kid on that team was just like trucking us. There was like nothing we could do. It was bigger than us and everything. And so we lost the trophy. And then we found out, like, I don't know, a week later, that they had a kid on the team that was 2 years older that was playing against us. And the South Jefferson school or sports board or whatever they are called our coach and said that they will reward us the trophy. And my coach was like, no, we lost. And he had a meeting with all of us, and he let us know, because it's, you should let us know. He said, we lost that game and we're not going to take it because, we lost. And that was a huge lesson, because, like you were saying, I think learning that humility at that point, and learning how to lose, learning that it's okay, and that no matter if someone else does whatever, it doesn't matter what someone else does, we have to show up as our best. We have to be able to beat whatever's out there, right? Because world's not fair, dude.
Nope.
I don't know if you had a fair world when you were growing up and out here in the world, but I sure didn't.
No, and I would say one of the things I always stress is effort. If you give max effort, I don't give a shit if you lose. Like, max effort is what matters. If you lay it all out on the line, hey, you did your best. And that's all we can ever ask of ourselves. And some days your best isn't good enough. All right. Hey, what can you learn? What can you take from it? What can you practice on? What actions are you going to take from that? And then do your best again. If you continue to get in that mindset, hey, you're going to be successful in life, because you're going to just have this tenacious, relentless, gritty attitude. And that's incredibly powerful.
I love that. And it's interesting when we talk about sports versus life, because sports has a very specific, like, win or lose, like failure or success, right?
Right.
But in life, right, we don't have this like end goal, or we shouldn't have this end goal of making it or failing, right? It's almost like we have to chase success in order to have success. And while we're going there, when in this community, there's a lot of people that can, give up on getting clean and sober. I've watched it so many times where people are just like, I can't do it. There's nothing I can do. I was at that point, right?
Okay.
What I found is that the people that go after every single journey, every single different kind of treatment, or the 12 steps, or church, or program, or going to their probation officer, whatever it is, the ones that are like going at it and not taking failure as defeat, right? They're the ones that end up finding it, because they find that one journey that they're not going to give up on, and they're going to give it everything they possibly have. And that's, for this community, I mean, that's exactly what we need to hear. We have to be thinking in that mindset of getting out and getting to it. We can find recovery if we do it. And guys, we're going to take a quick 30-second break. When we come back, we're going to talk about practical ways that you can add peak performance into your life, your recovery. And if you're still struggling, do this to get recovered. What's up, family? I hope you're enjoying this episode as much as I do when I'm making them. And guys, if you are getting value from this, if you've heard any golden nuggets that you think other people should hear, make sure that you're sharing it with your groups or your pages, so other people that are looking for a message of hope are able to find it. Also, in case you weren't here for the beginning of the show, if you have a recovery story and you want to learn how to add impact and income through sharing it, follow the link in the pinned comment to book your one-time, 100% free call with me, where we're going to strategize exactly how you can share your story and do just that. Enjoy the rest of the show. Keep living Recovered on Purpose. We've got a ton of comments coming in, so I'm going to pop some of these up, and then we're going to go into the mindset, peak performance, and everything. So, and Crystal, if you weren't here for the beginning of the show, you are the student shout out for today. I know you might have came in a little late, but after the show, rewind to the first couple minutes. So I leave Post-it notes to my mom and my son all the time, hide them on his cereal boxes and whatnot. Amen. That's awesome. Random acts of kindness are one of my favorite things to do every day. Exactly. Love them. Facts, Jeff. Facts, brother. The value I get putting a smile on human beings is honestly priceless. Yes. Positive affirmations makes a huge difference in kids' lives. My son was crying one time about his final exams, and I told him it was more important for him to learn to be a good human than it was to get perfect grades. What do you think of that?
Yeah, so important. Yep.
Yeah. And when you brought it up earlier about school, and they aren't really teaching us this kind of peak performance mindset or like these kind of things. They don't teach us about credit. They don't teach us about bills. You know, we could get into a whole conversation about why, but that's something that we have to take care of at the home, right? That's something that we have to be teaching the kids.
We absolutely do. And my late mother was a school teacher. I mean, my wife's a school teacher. My sister-in-law is a school teacher. So, you know, we've got kind of that balance. But yes, the peak performance, the mindset, the financial education, those are vital pieces that we need to lay that groundwork so they can be successful when they're out of college and out on their own.
Yes. With younger kids, getting down to their level and speaking words of encouragement makes a huge impact. They love being able to see you eye to eye. Yes, yes, yes. Value I get. Yes. I think I already put that one up. Absolutely, Sister Anna. Tough love, great conversations, not defeating within yourself. Yes. Any advice for someone who is 30 days sober? I am as of yesterday. We got someone with 30 days sober. Everybody give it up for Kate. Congratulations, girl. What would you say for someone we're going to focus specifically on? Because if you're 30 days, that means that you're at a point now where you can start adding good habits into your life. You can start adding, you know, things that will help you to enjoy life in recovery while you have the foundation, whether you're doing the 12 steps or whether you're doing counseling or something like that. So with this, we're actually going to hop into the conversation about morning fire and about this peak performance and how you help your clients. And let's give some people some practical things that they can take away from this to go use.
So I love bookending. I call it bookending your days, right? What's that last 30 minutes of the night look like? How do you prepare for success in the morning? And then what's that first 30 minutes of your day look like when you wake up? And at night, many times we aren't preparing for a great night's sleep. I mean, that's where we recover mentally, physically. That's where we can wind down, do a little digital sunset, put the phones away, the TV away, actually prepare for a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
Right. And then I also want people to set out what they're going to do right when they wake up in the morning, because it's so critical when you wake up to not have any distractions and stack these wins so you feel fantastic, right? Your energy level will just skyrocket. Your focus will be there. So you prepare for success at night, get a great night's sleep. And then in the morning, you wake up and you stack these wins. Love getting water in first when you wake up. That should be the first thing you do. The longest stretch of the day we go without water is while we sleep. Mm-hmm. Our bodies are made 60% of water. Our vital organs are in the 70s, 80s. If you're talking about the lungs, getting a full glass of water in, you're going to start that rehydration process. And people are like, and I tell them, I say, put the glass of water out and ready for you. And some people are like, well, that's ridiculous. Why would I do that? And I said, okay, let me give a story and a scenario. You come downstairs, you go to get a glass out of the cabinet. There's no clean glasses. Oh, crap. All right, I'm going to go to the dishwasher. Well, my spouse didn't push in the dishwasher exactly, the fully tight, so it never clicked on. All the cups are dirty. All the glasses are dirty. What's your mind going to say? Your mind's going to say,
sucks.
Screw this. I'm just not going to do it. So you've got to prepare for success. And so many times we're go, busy, busy, busy in life, and we're not preparing to be successful. So that's why everything's prepared at night. Get a glass of water in. Love exercising or moving in the morning, because we're physical beings. We're meant to move. You want to change your physiology, change your state, get some natural energy coming out of your body. Get the blood flow and moving. It doesn't have to be 100 burpees, but it can be going for a 2 to 5 minute walk outside in the morning, right? Getting some fresh air, doing something, moving, exercise that'll help you. Already now you got 2 wins. You're starting to feel good about yourself. Number 3, love meditating, right? And I think we've all been have this misconception of this monk on the side of a mountain, right? Bald with this crossed legs and snow's pounding down on his head. I know we're both a little, challenged in the hair department, but meditation, just breathing, right? Yeah. Focusing on our breath, a couple counts in, a couple counts out. I still do guided meditation after, how many straight days I've done. It gives us some space, and it gives our minds, and actually through meditation, you can increase the gray matter in your brain. Like they've done scans on it. It's crazy what we can actually do when we're taking time to take care of ourselves. Now you got three wins already. 3. positive forces in the right direction. Love gratitude journaling. Obviously, I talked about writing notes to my sons, love reading. And hey, that could take 15, 20, 25 minutes. And you've got 5 or 6 things accomplished and you feel good. And the number one thing that I say is you don't check your phone immediately when you wake up. Because when you check your phone, and I would say 90% of people do it, you are losing the battle for your mind before your feet have even hit the carpet or the floor when you get out of bed. Why? Because you're going to get a text message, you're going to check social media, you're going to check the news, and it's all either negative or our mind perceives it as negative. So what does that do? It triggers our caveman brain, that fight or flight system, thinking we're going to get attacked by a saber-toothed tiger. And all of a sudden, we're in a constant state of stress, constant state of anxiety, phones away, no distractions, stack these 5 or 6 wins. And then you're going to be in so much more control. You're controlling those bookends. And that's about the most we can control in our lives. We know life throws you those curveballs. It's going to throw crap at you some days. If you can control those bookends, you have a foundation to say, okay, I got a great night's sleep. I stacked wins. Now I feel a tremendous energy. I feel focused. Some of the other BS that I would worry about years ago, I don't worry about anymore. And you're ready to take on the day.
Amen. I love that. And you were talking about the evening routine, right? And for people that have been following me for a while, or seen videos of me doing this, I talk about something called the list of 6, doing that before bed, right? And on my whiteboard right outside of here, it's my list of 6 that I do before bed. One is always when I'm going to wake up, and I have the alarm, because when you wake up to an alarm and the first thing you do is set your feet on the ground, that's like an instant win. That's an instant, like, I am taking control of this day, right? And then it's just 5 other things that I'm going to do that day. It always includes, like, not always, but 5 days a week, the gym. And when I walk to the gym, I'll read a book and stuff, just like to get my mind focused and stuff like that, and getting that physiology going, right? And what I found doing that list of 6, right, that when we write it right before we go to bed, like you're talking about, when we put these things that we're going to do in the morning down on paper, down on a whiteboard, our mind, while we're sleeping, actually subconsciously plans the morning, and it plans to get up and do these things. So what are some things that you have, like, because I know that you've coached a bunch of people on this stuff. So how has this impacted your clients to actually start doing these things? Because I have people and I have videos out that I put out about this stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people don't take this kind of conversation seriously, to where they take the action. Like you were saying, 90% of people will open their phone right when they wake up. What have you seen in the people that take on this type of work, the morning routine and the evening routine? What have you seen?
Number one, I've seen people just lose weight from working out 5 to 10 minutes a day because they're consistent over and over again, right? And when you stack those wins in the morning, you feel good. Hey, you're going to make better choices throughout your day, right? All right, I worked out, meditated. Maybe if it's that sweet after lunch, you're like, I'm not going to eat that because I feel good. Why would I waste what I've already done, right? So weight loss has been one that I didn't actually expect, but has happened to many, many clients. And they're always shocked. They're like, how can I used to have trainers and everything, and I never lost this weight, but I'm doing it. And they're like, well, it's consistent because we're doing it day after day. So that would be 1. 2, the reduction. And I've had multiple people who have gotten off their anxiety medication altogether because they are controlling their bookends, right? And most of the time, their anxiety was the worst when they wake up, because why? They're checking their phone, they're getting a negative, and then it's all what's going to happen or what's going to go wrong. The what ifs just start piling in, where you're not checking that phone. All of a sudden you hit the ground. Like, to your point, you're getting a win. I mean, I teach, and I don't know if everybody knows this, and I don't even know if you know this, Adam. I mean, you can eliminate the snooze button off your phone.
Oh,
you can eliminate it on an iPhone. You can go into the alarm 3 spots down and hit off. And then you have one option, just stop.
Let's go.
Like,
I didn't know that. I just used the stop.
Yeah. Like, the biggest button on your alarm is snooze. Like, they're almost.
Why would they do that?
they're almost preparing us to snooze for another 8 minutes, and then you're getting that loss right when you wake up. So I've eliminated that from my phone. I coach all my clients on that. So that's a nugget for all you out there listening and watching. You can eliminate it from the options on
All
your
right. So
phone.
I'm in my phone right now, just because this is the kind of thing that I do. When I hear nuggets like this, I take them and I
Yep,
do them.
you can go into the alarm itself, and then fourth down is snooze, and you can toggle it on or off once you click into the click into the edit the alarm.
All right. No more snooze for Adam.
That's it.
Let's go.
So, the
I
anxiety
don't
piece
hit it,
is
but I don't like the option there.
right. Why even have the option? If you want to be fully committed, right? Don't even have the option. And that came out of pain because there was a couple of years ago, I hit snooze once and I was pissed off at myself. But rather than hit myself over the hammer and beating myself up, I got curious. I wanted to look with a flashlight, put on that white lab coat and say, why is this?
Yeah.
Well, one, the snooze button is the biggest button. I said, there's got to be a way to turn this off. And sure enough, I found it. And I'm like, I don't think people know that they can actually eliminate the snooze button. So,
And what does it do for someone's mindset that they wake up and they hit the snooze button? What does that do to somebody?
You're immediately saying that 8 minutes of bad sleep is more important than your goals, dreams, and what you want to achieve. That's the cleanest, quickest way I can say. That 8 minutes of bad sleep is more important than everything you want to achieve, any goal you're chasing, the life you want to live. That's a great perspective to have related to that snooze.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And Kate, the list of 6 is something you can absolutely start right now. Something you can absolutely start right now. It doesn't matter where you're at in recovery, in your addiction. I did it. I actually started doing it while I was still using drugs because I was trying so hard, so many different methods and everything. And it actually helped me in that time also. So this is something, and what you can do in your list of 6 in early recovery is literally, if you have a meeting in the morning that you can go to, that you can wake up maybe like an hour earlier and go to this meeting. If you do that, you are instantly setting your day up saying, I am working on my recovery. I am recovered. I am not using drugs and alcohol anymore because I'm taking control of my life and finding my journey to recovery. So it's a really good thing to start right now. I'm proud of you, Kate. Super proud of you. So in this morning, right, and you start seeing people losing weight. And when you were talking about that, I heard something come up that I think it's Charles Duhigg that talks about it in The Power of Habit, when he talks about the keystone habit. And he talks about like this little thing that you can do, this little thing that you can change that changes your whole mindset for the entire day. My keystone habit that I started in my very early recovery in my first 30 days, I had to make my bed every single day. And I still, I think there's might have been like 10 total days in the last 5 years that I didn't personally make my bed, including staying in the hotel rooms. And there was some circumstances that made it so I didn't, right? And this makes it so that I'm like, during the day, when decisions come up, I've already made a good one. I've already said that I'm making that good decision. So it's almost like easier to make those good decisions. What are those keystone habits that people are doing that you're noticing could work for everybody?
Exercise is such a incredibly, and movement, right? I mean, they say science has proven out it's a 12-hour mood boost, right? A lot of people like to say it's a little bit of Ritalin, so it helps with your focus. A little bit of Prozac helps with your mood as well. And it's something we can naturally do. I mean, 12-hour mood boost. Okay. Yep. I'm all in for that. Right. Making your bed. I do the same thing, right? Because, and this is so impactful. Everything you do matters and impacts everything else you do. So if you think about it, that you talked about making your bed. Well, if you don't make your bed, then you're probably not going to be as consistent, or you're not going to honor your commitments, or you're not going to do the things you should do later in the day. But by the fact that you make your bed, it impacts positively everything else you're going to do. And I think when we take that mindset, when we take that kind of methodology, adopt it, all of a sudden, just that small, simple thing, it matters so much more, because it's going to have that downstream effect. So,
100%.
When we can get into that, that's very important. I would also say, as you're starting out anything, make it so incredibly easy that it's almost laughable, right? Like
Yes.
if you haven't worked out, don't say you're going to go to the gym for an hour or you're going to do 100 burpees. Like
Yeah.
literally do one push up, one sit up, or walk for 1 minute. And then once you're done it, celebrate it. Yes, right? Because you
Yeah.
get that dopamine hit. It feels silly, but it actually feels incredible. And my family
Yes.
sees me all the time going, yes. And they're like, oh, there's dad again, or there's the crazy guy. But you're giving yourself that hit of dopamine, which I mentioned before. We're in a society that just goes, busy, busy, busy. We
Yep.
rob ourselves of that dopamine hit, hardwiring what we just did that was good for us with actually feeling good.
Yeah.
So what happens is tomorrow we don't do it when we rob ourselves of that. Well, you start celebrating it, get some progress, and then you can, crawl before you walk, walk before you run. So make things easy and so easy that they're laughable. Get it done and then celebrate, and then you'll do it again tomorrow.
Yes. I love that so much. And we, in our addictions, we synthetically, added these dopamine hits. We synthetically made it so that we were constantly going up and then constantly going down with these dopamine hits all the time. And with these kinds of habits, with these kinds of celebrations, with this exercise and with journaling and things that like cause those different dopamine hits, we're actually creating and using those neural highways that we created. We created these highways in our addiction of habit, of going down and using drugs, of what we had to do, all these steps in order to get the drugs and then use the drugs, our routine of making it and using it. And when we start creating these habits that give us these little hits of dopamine, right? We actually are able to get really aligned with these positive habits. And they will start giving us these feelings that we were seeking in our drug addiction synthetically, but now it's natural. And it's rewarding. It's rewarding us. So guys, this is gold. This is really, really gold. And I'm loving it. So what would you tell people out there that if they were, because you're saying make it super easy, right?
Mhm.
And what I've seen is that like if we say, we're going to do one push-up, and we get down and we do that one push-up and we celebrate it, sometimes we'll actually be like, well, why not do 9, 10 more? Why wouldn't we do more? Have you noticed that?
Yeah, so true. And I use that in my own life, right? Chunking it up and saying, hey, I'm only going to do one. And you mentioned in my intro, I did my second David Goggins 4x4x48. I mean, that's 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours straight. So when you're starting it, you have 12 4-mile legs to run. And he starts it at 8 p.m. Pacific. I was 11 p.m. Eastern time. At 11 o'clock, you run the first one. You're like, if I were to say to myself, oh my gosh, I got 11 more left, what would my mind immediately say? This is a mountain that you can't
Yes.
get past. Instead, when I go at 11 o'clock, I only have one more 11 o'clock session the next night to run. So when I get past that one, I say, all right, I've done one. I'm halfway there. I only have one more 11 p.m. session left. And it all of a sudden starts the mind to open up. Oh, we can do one more rather than 11. So if you can chunk it up and play these little games of, hey, I'm just going to do one and see what happens. All of a sudden, when you take action, and you talked about this, right? People have the knowledge many times and they don't take action. Take action first, small action, and then lean into it. You're going to start feeling more motivated when you move, when you take action, and then it's going to build upon your identity, right? And so many times we were taught this equation backwards where we said, how do I feel? And then based upon how I feel, our parents or whoever would say how you feel. Well, you don't have to do this or you don't take action. Well, what
Ooh.
happens? What happens to your identity when you don't take action? Well, it spirals downward. You feel
Feeling worse.
crappy about yourself, right?
Yeah.
Well, let's flip that totally on its head. First, define your identity. Let's take exercise. I define myself every morning as a world-class athlete. Do you think that world-class athlete's not going to exercise? Absolutely not. So I take action upon it. And then what happens to my feeling? I feel freaking fantastic because I stay committed every single day. So if you're going to define that identity early in the morning as you're stacking these wins, it's an incredible place to take action from and then feel better. And then you're going to spiral upwards rather than downwards.
I love that so much. And I want to dive into what that means to create an identity. and how somebody could create an identity in their own life, right? Like I say affirmations. I have a why statement, why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm here I'm authentically me, and I share myself and my story every day to empower addicts in recovery to live a life of purpose and mission beyond quitting drugs and alcohol. And I say that every single day. And that identity, that's my identity statement. That's my why statement. That's why I'm doing what I do. And that makes it so that I make these decisions during the day. I show up to these live events 5 days a week. And, having that identity is what is driving me into doing all this. What would you say would be a good exercise for someone to find an identity that they could chase after, that could form their why, right?
So number one is taking some space, right? Getting away from all inputs and just sitting with yourself and saying, who do I truly want to be in life? Who do I want to show up as? And somebody had asked me recently, what the question was, what would God say to you when you met the maker? And I said, I really thought about it. I said, he's going to say, you played full out. You left nothing on the field. And I get deeply emotional about that, right? Because that means I did everything that I could do. So taking some time and just defining, who do you want to show up as? Yeah. And then start showing up as that person, because to your point, you made it where, hey, you go through these 6, and then the subconscious mind, right? It's like a NASA supercomputer, runs behind the scenes when you're sleeping to prepare you to get those done in the morning. Yeah. Same thing happens when you define an identity, write it down, put it out, have it visible. The subconscious mind doesn't know if that's true or not. But if you see it and start taking action, all of a sudden your shoulders are up, your chest is high, you walk, you operate in a different manner, and people are like, what the hell? What has happened to you? Yes. Hey, I am acting how I want to show up in life. And that's so incredibly powerful. And we need that fight, that dog mentality, right? So many people are just going through life, and I feel like they're frogs in a boiling pot of water. It's slowly getting turned up and they're not doing anything. Well, define who you want to step into every day. Yes. And then live that way. And that gives you such a sense of purpose, and your mind doesn't know the difference. And all of a sudden, eventually that's how it's going to be. And you're going to look back and say, holy crap, it actually worked. Like it's incredibly powerful. That identity drives we are consistent with how we view ourselves.
Yes.
Our actions, our daily habits, the things we do are consistent with how we view ourselves.
Yes.
So if you're not taking time to define your identity, you're missing a critical step. And when you do that, all of a sudden it's going to be like jet fuel in your veins.
I love it. Yeah. Love it. And there's 2 things you said in there that I'm going to touch on. So, and I love having these conversations because we keep having these things that come up that I talk about to people that I'm coaching.
Okay.
Literally when I, and that means, what does that mean? That means that it's true. It's validating. This stuff works, guys. Actually taking these steps. One of the things that you said was I literally coach my people with their why statement to roll their shoulders back and put their chest out while they say it. Say it with that state. Say it like you are in that place right now. Because if you just like read it in your head, it doesn't work. And if you just read it like I am recovered on purpose, that doesn't work, right? But we put ourselves in that physical state of who we want to be, of who we are in that power state. And it goes into us and we can bring it into the world. Right. And man, I love it. I love it so much. And
I'll lead into that because you can do a Superman pose, right? Hands on your side, chest up, shoulder up, standing up. You do that for 2 minutes. Your testosterone goes up 18%, your courage vitamin, your cortisol level, your stress goes down 15%. Just by doing a Superman pose for 2 minutes. My oldest son wanted to get a bench press. And I told him, I said, go in the other room, stand like this for 2 minutes. He thought I was freaking nuts. I said, because your testosterone level is going to rise and your cortisol, that's going to help you lift. He came back, got the lift. He said, you know what? You're not crazy. I said, no, these are little things. But are we ever taught to do a Superman pose before you go into a big meeting or a stressful time? No. 2 minutes, you get a natural increase in testosterone, decrease in stress. It's those type of things. If we can put those modalities into our daily lives, it's incredibly powerful. And then all of a sudden, you're compounding all these positive things, and then that identity is right there, and you're continuing to live it. So no, I love the the energy, the passion, but just that Superman pose, 2 minutes.
Yes.
It's crazy powerful how science has proven it. Increase in testosterone, courage, decrease in cortisol or stress.
And guys, I don't know if you noticed, but when you said that, I wrote it down. I wrote that down, and I'm going to start doing it. And that's what's so powerful about these conversations, being around for these conversations, having these conversations with people that you can start learning how to become the peak person that you are supposed to become. Because in our recovery, we are literally called, we have a responsibility to live a life that's attractive to those that are still suffering. And guys, I know that, Jeff, you actually were giving something away today, right? You're giving something away to everybody that's listening. And I want you to tell them about that and why you're doing it.
If you're, I love connecting with other human beings. I love helping. I love guiding in any way I can. So anybody in your audience, Adam, who wants to grab 20 minutes on my calendar, they can. No strings attached, 100% free. Would love to talk. If I can help guide you in any way, I will give you my energy, excitement, enthusiasm, passion in those 20 minutes. So feel free to grab a time if you'd love to chat, and how I could, help you in any way possible. Because listen, we do that for more other people. We help, we give. Man, this world's going to be an amazing, amazing place.
I love it so much. And what can people expect from the call? Because guys, here's something that actually came up on my group coaching call last week, that because I have these links. I have these links for people to book these free calls with me because I love them. I want to help them with where they're at. And some of them feel like, well, I don't want to take up your time. You're busy and stuff like that. Like, what does it mean to you when someone gets on this call that is seeking help, seeking guidance to reach that peak performance? What does it mean to you specifically?
One, I'm going to celebrate you, because that takes courage, right? To be able to do that. We were led to believe that asking for help is a weakness. I say it's the biggest strength, right? And
yes,
that's so courageous. So I'm going to applaud you. I'm going to celebrate you doing that. And then two, we're going to have an open discussion, and I'll help you any way I can. And I have had people that say 20-minute conversation with you changed the trajectory of my life.
Yes.
And by that, I'm honoring who I am on a daily basis. I'm also honoring my mother, right? The memory of her, because she was that spark to get me to this place.
Yeah. I love that so much. Guys, if you have something, if you have something going on in your life, if you want to reach somewhere, don't miss this opportunity. Don't miss it. That's 20 minutes that could literally change the trajectory of your life. Like, you guys have heard this conversation. We're going on a very vague basis, right? What happens when because I know the answer to this for myself. What happens when someone comes to you on a one-on-one basis and they have something specific going on in their life? Does that mean that you're going to probably give them the same stuff that was happening in the show that we're giving as a broad audience? Or what would happen if someone came with something specific to you?
Well, one, I would listen first and foremost. And that's such an important piece to the equation. Listen, hear where people are coming from, and then ask for permission if I could give some guidance. And if they say yes, then give them specific, actionable, because I'm all about action, right? Yeah. We live in the greatest time in the history of the world where we have supercomputers in our hands. We have all the knowledge. We're so confused because there's so much out there. Yeah. I'll give you actionable steps that you can put into place. We'll actually go through breathing exercises on the call to center and get us calm and in the present state. And then you'll be able to take action from it, because that's what I want.
Yes.
And I feel like especially the wellness, personal development space hasn't been doing a good enough job. I think the completion rates are like 6 to 7% of people that sign up for a course or do something that are actually successful.
Yeah.
Mine's in the 90th percentile because I have accountability, I have consistency, I have energy. And at the end of the day, I care about other human beings.
100%. You said something there. I originally launched my course as a digital course because I made it really, really good. Like I'll show it to you. Like I made it really good. I spent a lot on production and everything. And then a bunch of people bought it, but then I was reaching out, like, how's it going and things like that. And like, it wasn't happening. Like people weren't actually going through it. And it's not about selling a digital course. It never was. It was about getting people's stories out. So what I did was I added in the whole coaching prospect, the coaching element, the group coaching, the community and everything. And I've watched that with the success rates going up like crazy now.
Yeah.
When we actually have that time with someone. And to close it out, I see a comment on here that I want to see up here. And December says, as a woman who has been traumatized by porn, I want to thank you for bringing awareness to how unhealthy it is and congratulate you on your courage to speak about such a heavy topic. December, thank you so much for commenting that. And rather, Jeff, thank you so much for coming. We appreciate this conversation. It was a great conversation. Everybody was talking in the comments with getting a ton of value from this, brother. Super excited to be connected with you. And thanks for coming, man.
Adam, so grateful and honored to be here. I hope everybody watching or who listens on the replay, just they get tremendous value from it. And I'll leave them with this. Today is a gift you will never get back again. Use it to the fullest.
Love you guys so much. Keep living.